welcome to Talk That Is, a podcast where stories inspire, voices uplift, and knowledge transforms. I'm your host 𝗚𝗵𝗵𝗧𝗵𝗵. Today's guest, someone whose impact resonates for beyond borders, Danelle Boyles, a celebrated educator, healer, artist, and has touched lives through art, special education, humanitarian service, and quantum consciousness. Then welcome to Denal, welcome to show. We are honored to explore your story today. How do you do?
Hi, hello. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone globally, and hello to you. Thank you so much for having me.
You can say my first question. I want to start with my first question. May you introduce yourself a little bit? I have, you can say, the scroll on the YouTube and Facebook, a lot of information about your contributions over there. But I make it simple for my audience. Once
Yeah,
again, yes, please.
yeah, absolutely. I'm Danelle Boyles in the United States, and I like to say that I'm aware of many hats, many professions. I've dabbled in many things throughout my life. Currently, in the last few years, I have navigated into the pathway of being um, a global educator through humanitarian organizations. I am a special education vocational trainer with Oceans and Art Healing Studios, which is a holistic practice. And I'm also an artist and a globally published author.
Thank you very much for introducing yourself. My first question: what is the memory from your, you can say, the hometown where you are abroad in Indiana that feels still influences the core of your mission today? Maybe some, you can say, the memory. Am I audible? Is there some problem? Hello? Is there any problem? I'm
No,
audible? Right.
yes, I hear you now. You
Okay.
disconnected and your video stopped for a moment, but I did not hear the second part of what you had said.
Okay. Because I repeat my question again.
Okay.
What is a memory from your Midwestern upbringing in Indiana that you feel still influences the core of your mission today?
Um, I have many important memories that have to do with everything from family to overcoming challenges or being challenged growing up. But probably one of the most important core memories that I have that influences my work today is family. And growing up, I had a very large, very broadly spread out family that, um, we always tried to stay in touch, and we always had huge family reunions. So when we had these huge family reunions with our close local family and family that was extended, there was typically sometimes a couple hundred people involved. Um, but through that, just learning the diversity of people, how individuals have their differences. And over the years, I have lost touch with a lot of that family. Many I stay in touch with still through access of the internet, thankfully. But having an understanding that even in close knit families, we have a lot of diversity in between individuals. And so learning about that individuality and diversity and growing up in a large family, you see how everyone is different, and embracing the differences between all people um, just really was grounded into who I was at a young age, and holding traditions and communication with people that, regardless of differences or individuality. Mm.
Sounds great. Then you wrote, and I quote, I create from the soul for the soul, and that changes everything. May you explain it in the context of healing and self discovery?
Yeah, absolutely. So creating from the soul is something that's deeply ingrained in me. I have been an artist, a writer, um, a creator, and a change maker from a young age. I've always been into artwork. I've always been into writing. And when you are creating from your soul for the soul, you are feeding a need, not just within yourself, but it's a call for others to be able to connect and relate, and experience similar humanness that makes people not feel so alone. Um, by doing this, it opens up doorways for people to be able to connect to things that they perhaps have not healed from, through words, expression, art. Art is very much an expression of energy. And many times when artists express themselves in writing and in art, the energy that is transferred through the work is very deeply felt, because creativity comes from a space of generally either a happy emotion or a sad emotion, excitement. And so when you do something that is creative, you are speaking soul to soul.
Right. How you find at that moment at your early age that you are a change maker? Is there
uh,
something special you how you can find? I'm you can say amazed that moment in your early age
um,
you can find it out.
I feel like whenever you develop the notion that you're a change maker, it's not until you are much further into your spiritual process and you get to a point of where it becomes on a mass level. Whenever you start helping other people overcome things that they have difficulty overcoming on their own, um, and you begin to see the path work of pattern work, where you changing someone else's life then in turn spreads like a webbing. And I have always worked with children. I have worked in the school system for over 20 years. And when you first begin a career like that, you do it with a sense of wanting to make a difference. But as you do it further down your career path, you realize that there's this much more expansive purpose for what you're doing. Yeah.
Right. That's it. When you talk about some spiritual things, you are talking about metaphysical things, I think, or it is about religion something.
I'm sorry, I could not hear the last part that
Okay.
you said.
Okay. When you talk about, you can say the spirituality, is it that some metaphysical things?
The Whenever you come to the special realization,
Yes.
I do believe so, because as I evolved as a consciousness coach, I went through a very rapid transformation of my own consciously. And I am gifted with the ability to be able to actually see timelines and intertwining realities of people whenever you are making changes in their lives. And so whenever you see the deviation from a point of a life of someone who you have helped create change, and then you see the new path that they're going to traverse on, then it creates a much different outlook. Actually being able to see it, being intuitive, I intuitively advancedly see a lot of things that people will experience in their future just by having moments of connectivity.
Right. What was the turning point in your life that led you to this calling, combining writing, healing, and spiritual guidance as one united path?
This one is a little complicated that a lot of people may not understand. And it's very metaphysical. As an individual who is a little more advanced on the conscious pathway and understanding what integrating self and integrating different fragments of self is, a handful of years ago, when I was communing with my higher self, God, what leads you on your path, I was told that I had to choose. I was told that I had to choose a pathway. And, here I was, an artist and a writer and a humanitarian philanthropist, a holistic practitioner, and doing all of these things. And I basically said, why do I have to choose? I said, divinely guide me to be able to incorporate all of them. And so that's what I've done. I have incorporated all of my abilities and talents and education and experience and lifetimes and pathways into one. And it's a very busy, very demanding calling, but I'm doing it in a divine manner that allows me to be able to do all of it incorporated into one pathway.
It seems it quite difficult to manage all these things with your family life. How you can balance all these things? It demands a lot of time.
It does demand a lot of time. I work a lot. I tell many individuals that aspire to lead a life path as such, that it is not necessarily typical to engage in as much activity globally as what I do. And I like to just say it's a calling that I was called to incorporate so much in the universe at this time. I keep a very scheduled calendar. I put everything on my calendar, and that is one question that is asked of me often, is how do you balance it all? And I just ask for the grace of God to give me that I am able to do all the things that I need to do without completely burning myself out. And some days do include burnout. Some days do include burnout. That's part of it. So you have to make sure that you take time for self-care. But I enjoy working. I enjoy seeing the changes. I enjoy seeing the world effort, and taking some of the challenges from me and handing them off to other people as I do work with them. Then I see them take off, and then they're carrying the torch. So just very scheduled and very detailed.
You lead a very scheduled life.
I
And
do.
how much time you can spare by yourself on daily basis? I think a few moments you can spare in this regard.
I actually spend more time by myself than what people think. Um, I do rest quite a bit when you do as much energy work, because I do a lot of energetic healing work with clients and such, and also when it comes to coaching. And I listen. And if my body tells me that I must rest, I stop and I take time out and I just rest. And sometimes that leads to not being able to do everything that you want to do, but you do everything that you need to do. And so, and I do usually get an hour or two to myself throughout the day, just depending on how the day is scheduled. Some days I don't get any time to myself.
Right. One point I got from your, you can say, the conversation, the thing you want to do and that you want needs to do.
Yeah,
That's you can put the
yeah,
two different things.
yeah.
That's a great thing.
And
I
sometimes
will,
we
you
have
can
to
say,
choose.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I will
and
keep
some,
in mind.
yeah,
It's one of my takeaways from your conversation. You often speak about quantum consciousness. For those new to this concept, what is one simple practice that can begin with? You can sounds to me just like you can say scientific term.
it is. It's very much a combination of scientific, metaphysical, and spiritual. Quantum consciousness is a gift. Um, it's not necessarily a gift that is always pleasantly come by, because in order to access that gift, you have to open the mind. And to open the mind, you have to go through certain processes emotionally, consciously, energetically, that leads you into having a much broader understanding of how the universe operates. Um, and turning inward, I feel like is the most important thing, and understanding yourself before you try to understand what the universe is all about. So turning inward and spending time with yourself is very important. Getting to know yourself, understanding your tics, understanding your emotional stature. It's all very important and part of it.
Is there some link between spirituality and photons? You can say that quantum theory about such kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. There absolutely is, because quantum consciousness, quantum entanglement, um, you know, time collapse, like it's all they're all so very interwoven. And what a lot of people don't have the concept of, but it's coming. I clap my hands every day when I go onto all of my scientific research forums and I see a new discovery of something that we've quantumly already consciously anchored, and I'm like, oh good, now we have the hard evidence so that other people can start to understand and see, and feel and experience, and not just think that we're talking about a bunch of fluff, out in the quantum verse, that we experience, um, our universe and a multiplicity, that it's actually very complicated. It's not just a one layer, I'm a human in this form. That quantum consciousness is very multidimensional and very multi-layered and very involved. And so that's why, it takes time to develop, because you can't just jump into it. A lot of times they say that, if you're forced into an awakening, it can cause madness, and that's because you go through a very rapid, accelerated process of learning and grounding and developing that understanding. So it's very,
It
it's a touchy.
sounds interesting. It
Yeah.
sounds interesting to me. I will go through if I can do it. Sometime.
Take it
I will get
gracefully.
some. Yeah, I will get some information from you and some guidelines to do it. How does your background in a special education influence your approach to holistic care and emotional healing?
Oh, this one's always been very important to me. I've been in special education for almost 24 years, from the time that my oldest son, who is now 29, um, since he was 5. When he went into kindergarten, my oldest son has always had developmental, differences, different abilities in learning. And so from a very young age, I began having an outlook of how special education needs a more emotional and conscious approach, because the children who are involved in special education have much more complicated conscious factors and emotional factors. Their autonomic systems are very sensitive, and understanding how things operate in the quantum helps understand how these children, not just children, but adults, because, of course, when you have any kind of disability or different ability to overcome when you're young, it doesn't typically just go away. You still carry it through adulthood. You just learn to navigate it, map it, regulate it. You learn different ways to approach it. But working with students like this for so long, I have a much different understanding and approach of how the emotional self operates, what's necessary in order to help, these individuals cope, and having an understanding of what causes the synapses in their brains and in their bodies to become overstimulated. And that evolves and carries over into a lot of my holistic work. Because a lot of the adults that I work with children too, not just in my school corporation position, but also in my private practice. And I also work a third job with Apex Behavioral Services, where I work with children that have different abilities, that also have individual differences in how they handle overstimulation of energetic processes and such. So it all encompasses one big giant purpose and intent and outcome. All of it is just very meshed together.
Yes, I can understand. Your constructions are practical, quite different as compared to the rest one who can you can working on such kind of you can say the field. I have one of my friends who is a student advisor in my college.
Mm-hmm.
He can do speech therapies with people of different abilities. One day he was sharing with me that one of the students who cannot utter one you can say sound, he tried 2 or 3 months. Then you can understand the sign language and she can do a little bit you can say uttering some sounds.
That's
Uh, I
wonderful.
will I would like to you can connect him with you if it is
Yeah,
possible.
absolutely. I used to know a lot of sign language, but I haven't used it in a long time. I did not have students that signed for a long time, so I have forgotten a lot of it. But individuals like that, they make such a difference in those individuals' lives, and people often think it's just one individual. And I'm like, no, but you have to understand it on a quantum level, because this individual is then connected to thousands of other individuals in their lives consciously, because we all are mapped out in this giant universal grid together. And that child
Just
having, I'm sorry.
yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and that child having the ability to express themselves helps ease their frustration and what they're managing and handling. So it's very important. And that work that they're doing is very important.
I just you can recall one of my other friends. I was in a conference
Yeah.
last year in 2024. He is also working with you can say students of different abilities.
Very nice.
I would like to connect to both of you can say them with you in some way,
Yeah,
so they can.
absolutely.
You can say, it will be a great help for them. They can learn new strategies and techniques to apply in their own schools.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure.
You can your conversation is so fruitful that I am spending too much time. You can say that talking to you. I you can say requested only 30 minutes, but it is going to exceed.
I can be
Okay,
quite, and
sorry for that.
sometimes my answers are very long. I try to shorten them, but they still
No,
become long. Okay, I
no
will. I
need
will try to
because
keep
I
the rest
get
of the answers brief.
no need to you can say make it short. I was just you can say concerned about your time limit, but it is a you can say great benefit for the listeners who are you can say may listen our recording after our conversation, and I am getting more you can say, just I have shared the 2 points with you. You can say that if you can say concise your responses, how can I get this information?
Very well.
Okay, that's right. My next question. About your recognition, it is you have received, you can say, distinction, honors, and nominations of the global profile platforms. Today, I sent you a, you can say, this PDF. There was an article, someone written, you can say that he was nominated for some excellence award. That is Women's Excellence Award. Phonics, some kind of Women's Excellence Award. What's that
Mhm.
award? And what was the reason you was nominated for that? You can say, tell something about that.
The Phoenix Woman's Excellent Award. That's one that I received recently. I'm always very much in gratitude whenever I receive these, because the work that I do is is like my gift to the world. It's my legacy. It's what I'm here supposed to do, and so I do it. And so when I receive um, accolades or recognition for it, I almost just feel, I know it's difficult for me to accept recognition for the work that I do because it's what I'm here to do. But the Phoenix Woman's Excellent Award is one from a university that specializes in conscious advancement, and it's very, very lovingly received, because whenever you do the work that I do, you do it very selflessly, and so you
Right.
always are in a propelled motion of moving forward.
Looking into next 10 years, what legacies are you building, and what do you hope your impact will be globally and personally?
Um, this one is a big one for me. Um, it's way bigger than what can typically be conceived in a traditional way of thinking. When I started this journey, even just a handful of years ago, when it really like sped up and I really started getting involved with a lot of different humanitarian platforms, it began on poetry platforms and working with individuals as refugees and displaced persons, people of abuse, that have been displaced from their countries. And it was to raise the overall conscious vibration of the universal energy, to create a peace and balance, to just help educate the world where humanity has failed people and failed individuals. Um, my legacy is a very simple but complex one, and it's human equality. Personally, I get to see literally millions of people complete a circuit and rise up. Um, a lot of those individuals are left behind and overlooked. They're in impoverished, uneducation, uneducated circumstances because they were thought to be unreachable. Um, and this is either due to environmental situations or belief systems, but typically environmental. Uh, Beginning with, I started working with children in third world situations that they don't have access to education. And I was teaching art and writing and reading and international, like just global communication, comprehension, and instilling in them that they're not stuck in their situation. Um, Developing belief systems of I can.
Right. We left two more questions to before we wrap up our
Mhm.
session. For those listeners who want to begin integrating purpose, healing, or art into their lives, what's one small but powerful step you recommend starting with?
It goes back to one of my earlier questions, and it's being with yourself, and understanding as an individual what you really want to do. And you don't have to have a huge, grandiose purpose in order to make a change. But learning to be comfortable with yourself, being comfortable in solitude, and being comfortable with aloneness, learning what yourself needs before you service others. You know, it goes back to self-care also. Very important. But sitting with yourself and really knowing like what you want to do in the world.
Right. It sounds great. And finally, if there is one message for you'd like to leave humanity today, what would it be?
One message: you're in control of your destiny, regardless of your circumstances that you've been dealt with in life. Finding your inner peace and balance is the most human thing that you can do for the world right now. Education is generally a tool of choice. Education creates expansion. And learn yourself, learn new trades, learn about consciousness and how expansive we can be as energetic beings. Choose your tools of advancement and then advance on it. A lot of times we become stagnant in our learning. We become overwhelmed. We become overstimulated. There's so many choices. Just choose. As a 48-year-old woman, I choose to educate myself as much as possible. And in so many different ways. Learning doesn't have to be just formal education. There's so many options today to enlighten and learn from. So, and learn emotional intelligence. Just learn. That's all. Just learn. Don't stop learning.
Thank you. Uh, Thank you very much for sharing your heart, your light, and your voice with us today. You are indeed a soul who leads with love. It's great honor for me that I have you on my, you can say, show. I would love to, you can say, share something with the two of my friends to connect with you later on. And if you can, just sum of your personalities like you who are contributing towards, you can say, the humanity, I would like to invite on my show later on. You can share with me if it is possible for you. It's a great privilege for me that you shared your thought on this platform. It will be a great valuable for the people who are here in Pakistan because this too you can see the people who are with the different abilities. They need some you can say the counselor advisors and so you can see the caretakers. And I think the people who are dealing with them can contact you and get more information. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's been a privilege to hold this conversation with you today. And I know that whomever it needs to touch and become intertwined with it will.
It's not you can say our first and last connection. We will connect for when and never we live in this world. Okay, thank you very much once again.
Yeah, thank you, dear. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.